Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Obviously, no policy, no law is perfect, but at least you can look at it and tweak it from time to time and improve certain things if you see that really is not working properly. I'm not a big fan of the mass democracy because I think one of the drawbacks for mass democracy is the terms and changing the elected officials. We obviously in democracy we elect our officials, some people to represent us, and then they will make laws, policies, and whatever is needed. The government and all that, they will, make sure that our rights are, protected, and they follow the Constitution, and that's it. I don't want them to babysit me. All right, I don't want them to tell me what I can say, what I cannot say, how I should dress, who should I call, how and where. That's not their job. But anyway, in a democracy, you have these elected officials for a term. Could be, let's say, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 2 years, whatever. And my problem with this situation is you can't do anything to these guys for the duration, for their term, of their term. So once they get elected, they can legally wreck the country without breaking any law. Wreck the country because of the policies and the laws they will implement, they will vote, or depending if there is the government, that generations of generations will be hurt. They will need time, generations to repair what these guys did. And you have no way to change these guys. If they tomorrow vote something, you have to, and that gets implemented, and the ball start rolling, then you can't change certain things. So this is something I really don't like about mass democracy and the way it's implemented. Something must be fixed regarding, if these guys are doing something stupid, what are you going to do then? And right now I'm talking about this kind of example. I have an article regarding the U.S. oil strategic reserves. And the strategic reserves, their goal is to obviously be used in extreme circumstances. That's like a saving account. So you have a saving account when you are capable of earning more money than spending money. And the difference, you can afford putting it in a bank if you want, or investing it in something, and it's gonna grow, and every month you save, and then for bad times, when you have a problem at one time, let's say you get fired, you get a job where you earn less, your expenses are high, then you're gonna have to, that difference you have to start taking from your big saving account. But that's just an emergency thing, because you're not doing something right here. You earn less than you consume. So that means you're gonna take monthly, pum, 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 pum. At one point, you're gonna get here, and you're gonna get below. That's when you start borrowing money. And when you start borrowing money, then it's going to be a problem. When you're going to borrow money, you're going to borrow it with big interest. And if you keep going like this, earning these expenses here, that's going to grow. You will not be able to come back to the surface, almost certain. Rarely, unless you hit a jackpot and you get a job like this and you earn like this, and then you can come back. The same thing is with oil reserves. In a strategic oil reserves, United States of America, there are some facilities, underground facilities in Texas, and I think it's in Louisiana or Alabama. And the capacity, I think it's 714 million barrels of oil stored. That's the maximum capacity, I think, something like that. And then if you have a problem, global, strategic, emergency, you start taking oil from there like you take from your saving account. But that's something temporarily. Why? Because that means something is not right when you have to put your hand in the saving account or in the oil strategic reserves. The Biden administration, through its beautiful policies, they started sucking the oil reserves, the strategic oil reserves since March. They were not full. It was not full capacity. So those reserves, strategic reserves, were not at 715 or whatever, 714, about that. And they started sucking each day 1 million barrels, right, for 6 months. As I said, in March, 6 months. And after that, they did, I think, another 3 months. And that is like this. If it's, 6 months, now you, obviously 6 months, you multiply it by 30 days, you get about 180 days. That is the first 180 days, meaning 180 million barrels of oil sucked from the strategic oil reserves. Now it was, I think, when they started doing this, it was like 600 and some million barrels. Now you subtract this, they got another 3 months, I think, and 3 months, obviously, it's half of this, which you get to, you get to 90 million barrel again, and that's it. What are they going to do after that? Because with 90, and I think they want to do it again now. So you get 100 first, and then you get 180 first million, and then you get 90 million, and then you're going to do what? They want to suck again. So the problem is, this is the saving account you had at the beginning, the reserves, and now you're here. And you keep sucking it. What's going to happen after that? Because you can't really borrow like you go to the bank or you get a credit card unless you get it from the Arabs or somewhere else that they are at the full capacity. Now let's see this article that I have here. What's going on? This article comes from Sputnik, and it is from 5 hours ago, today on the 13th of February 2023. Biden administration reportedly plans to sell 26 million barrels of crude oil from reserves. If you remember, Saudi Arabia is withdrew 2 million barrels a day. It happened about a few months. I think it was November. So it's less supply. Now the Russians are not supplying 500,000 barrels a day because of the price cap these guys implemented. So then that's a shortage of supply, and the demand is the same, or the same. It's increasing because the COVID-19 pandemic is kind of like going away. Supposedly the economies are supposed to pick up again, even though we're talking about a recession. But they do it nevertheless. I wonder, how are they going to replenish it? Are they going to get a better job or something, or what? Are they going to sucking our oil? We have oil fields. We have a lot of oil in the United States. It just have to be taken out from the ground. The Biden administration has used the country's Strategic Petroleum Reserve (SPR) to try to alleviate chronic high U.S. gasoline prices. However, lately it was not, because they did some hanky-panky, but it seems like it's going back up. However, U.S. oil giants have been caught sending the petrol to European markets where the price is even higher. Of course, it's supply and demands and price. And making what U.S. President Joe Biden described as, and I'm quoting, more money than God. Well, I'm wondering who facilitated the circumstance, the situation. Huh? Who? Why don't you look in the mirror, Biden? The U.S. Department of Energy, DOE, is preparing to release another 26 million barrels of crude oil from the country's strategic reserve into oil markets, according to reports in U.S. media on Monday, today. According to Energy Information Administration, EIA data, and the SPR, the Strategic Petroleum Reserves, has about 371.58 million barrels of oil at present. It has an authorized storage capacity of 714 million barrels. All right. Sometimes I make a confusion, 714, 716, 714. So if you look at that, it's less than half. So you're half empty. Gasoline prices in the US have begun to rise once more after hitting a 16-month low in late December. Among all grades, the average price on December 26, 2022 was $3.1 per gallon, while at the end of the first week of February it was $3.45 per gallon, let's say, according to the EIA. So it's going up. Okay. The reported move comes after the U.S. of Representatives, newly under Republican control, passed a bill aiming to limit the Department of Energy's ability to release SPR stocks while also approving more oil drilling on federal lands. However, the reported new release would be part of a congressionally mandated sale approved by the U.S. lawmakers years ago and scheduled for fiscal year 2023. Much of the SPR was drained over the last year as the Biden administration looked to compensate for its boycott of Russian energy exports, which account for roughly 1/9 of American petroleum imports. The move was in retaliation for Russia's special operation in Ukraine that began in February after the U.S. refused to negotiate over Russia's security red lines, which include Ukraine being used as a base for NATO weapons. Yeah, but this is what the Russians say. They tried this, but still it's unprovoked because that's the way things are. And I'm quoting, as a consequence, the prices of petroleum, natural gas, and their various products skyrocketed, which had the ironic consequence of driving record high inflation in the US while driving Russia. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to read this because they give us something I'm not certain. They make politics, obviously. The price of crude oil has remained relatively stable for several months, with West Texas intermediate WTI selling at $79.26 on Monday, and Brent crude, which is pumped in Norway, selling at $85.90 per barrel. In September, U.S. media reported the White House was considering refilling the SPR if oil prices fell below $80 per barrel. So I'm not going to go into why those guys invaded, what happened, and so all that. The problem is this: something is wrong. If you need to get from your saving account in this kind of circumstances, that means you're not doing something right with your energy. Your policies are deficient. Now, there's sometimes you take money from your account to make an investment, to buy something, or to invest in something, but that's not the case here. The situation is going down, but how are they going to solve it? This is a temporary solution. This is not a long term. So what are you going to do when you have these guys in charge and you're less than half in the reserve, in the oil security, all strategic reserves? What are you going to do? Nothing. You can't do anything. So these guys, if they want to start pumping and sucking out of the reserves until they dry, they can do that. And then you know what they're going to say? It was Putin's fault. Well, personally, I don't give a whose fault is over there. Whatever was in your control, I want to look at that one. If you couldn't control that guy over there and Zelensky and whatever, which is a big conversation, I want to know what you did to alleviate this situation. I mean, if there's a problem and I do something stupid, I can say, well, it was the problem. Well, what did you do? Let's analyze what was in your control. In their control right now is suck more, get more money from the banking account. And when you're going to get that, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I know what you're going to do. You're going to tell us, let's switch on battery vehicles. That's what you're going to tell us. But you know who's the biggest producer of batteries in the world? Our friends, China. So are we going to be letting ourselves blackmailed possibly by China? As we told the Europeans that if they buy Russian gas from Russia, they exposed to being blackmailed by Russia, and Russia was a bad player, even they provided always on-time energy. What about the Chinese? The ones that we shoot down our balloons left and right. Huh? So you see, dry this, we're going to say it's unsustainable, the fossil fuel. We need to switch on something renewable, blah, 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 battery and so on. And the biggest producer is China. So that means we're going to be doing what we told the Europeans not to do. We'll see. Maybe we have to drive bicycles, not ride them, but drive them. Maybe we can walk. Maybe we don't have to walk anymore. Maybe you can stay just home, work from home, whatever services you can provide, which is, you know what I mean, consume by making orders. You got a certain kind of strata of the society buying stuff for you. Maybe they will deliver it with drones, but still there must be someone producing things. Who are those going to be? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.